let it go, yeah. Let it go. Yeah, me let it go. Master Jesus, let it go. Yeah, me let it go. Go, 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 go. Go on, let it go. I'm tired, let it go. Give your heart to Jesus. Let him take control. Just sit and worship. I know it hurts you, and I know it's painful. No way to wait, so you have to let it go. Your best friend is not your secret enemies. Let it go. Your wife is getting married to another man. Your husband are falling in love with another woman. Don't let it bother you. I say let it go. If someone overlook you because you live in zero, if they insult you because you don't have nobody, if you say you will continue to be a zogo, if you say you will continue to be a prostitute, if you say you will continue to be a beggar, you will not marry, you will not bear your own children. If you say your knee is borrow, Sunday go to meeting, mommy can say no, Johnny, ginger. Just let it go. Jesus will change your story. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Oh, let it go. Lord, help me let it go, man.
Yeah. Mighty blow. Holla. Nobody do it.
Good evening, folks. As usual, we're back here. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. Of course, I'm Alfonso Z, and so right here, sitting in for the Liberal Progressive. Today is a conversation with Samson Bowne, but I'm here it's a proxy, his affair, and he's going to be here. So we're going to be having a conversation as usual to welcome our man, Nelson. Good evening, good morning, depending on your location, and our own man, Eduardo, right here from the Bay State of Massachusetts. Good evening and welcome.
Oh, blessing and forgiveness. You solve a problem, Lord, you took me from the wilderness. Now only you can feel my struggle when I'm really stressed. So my papa bless me, then my enemy, they get invest. No matter what the problem is, man, just let it go. Your delay is not your denial, everybody know. Just keep on trusting in Jehovah, he will give you more. He took me from the grass, he can take you from the rock and roll. Yeah.
All right, there's a little Josiah to right there in central Liberia, Bowne County. Let's get
Mama Liberia,
Yeah, we were right. Celebrating the children body.
What is our culture and traditions?
Hey.
What is our value today? We don't want number one, no more violence. We don't want no more bloodshed, mama. Why are we fighting? Hating one another was so much better than Italy, mama. Everywhere we go, yeah, yeah. Your children are
Good evening, folks. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. Thank you for sharing this evening with us as usual. Today is what? It's a Monday. We hope you had a very fresh beginning to week, whatever you're doing, to whatever you are. Good morning and welcome. This is the Liberia Public Radio and LPR TV sitting in here for the Liberal Progressive, but hopefully you're going to be joining me here and the rest of the crew, and we're going to be discussing a wide range of issue. Politics is no exceptions as usual, and news making headlines in Liberia and other parts of the world. The issue alleged missing person with Liberia Revenue Authority, LRA. I don't know what's the tradition with that, but it is not yet clear. We tried to place a phone call to the police chief for public affairs who speaks on behalf of the police. Everybody seems to be tight-lipped, and that police is also involved in the search. But we are getting other information from our guys on the ground that the families still remain hopeful. Of course, that's the tradition. But let's have a quick rendezvous of some of the news making headlines across the globe and other parts of the world, and then we're going to get right to our talking point. Well, Zambia gears up for presidential elections, and in the same vein, the Cuban president of Zambia, President Eckhart Longat, inaugurates a gleaming new Chinese-funded airport terminal in Lusaka. Suspected jihadis kill scores of villagers in northern Mali. Report says more than 40 civilians were massacred. Mali forces in return killed 12 troops. In a fight against COVID 19, Tunisia to vaccinate more than 500,000 people in one day. Wow, that's very much interesting. More than 500,000 people vaccinated in a single day. That's a good news. A report from Lebanon says the worsening fuel crisis poisons violence, leave 3 dead. Reports says tensions over scarce fuel supplies into Lebanon descended into violence involving guns, nerve, and hand grenades. Ooh. And in our own country, so the Republic of Liberia, the Authority at the Ministry of Education launches US $47 million schools project aimed at 156 schools and 3 hopefully to be constructed. That's a good news. We do not know yet. We, according to our own outlet, Liberia Public Radio, news outlet is reporting this information, and we hope the Minister of Information, Dr. Sonins, are making this disclosure. We hope the people of Liberia and the educational system, I think Professor Zavlo will love this one here, will be strengthened, and we will get a detail as to how this is going to be done. These and many more are going to be part of our talking point. And as you know, the leader of the Economic Freedom Fighter in Liberia, EFLL, Emmanuel Tagongwa, and some of his principal deputies, according to report, are behind this evening to this town in Liberia. Remembered what happens the other day. Let's see here if we can bring this here so that you can get a sense of exactly what happened.
Hey, come on, you back up.
Yes, sir, you do that.
I'm going live.
No, don't do it.
I'm not going to
Oh my goodness, Liberia.
Don't put it all on there.
Hey. 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 Yeah, let's move to the right road.
Until the laboratory money can be returned back to them, the economic freedom fighters of Liberia will lock the criminals. We will lock them here. We are not going to allow for these criminals to take our money. Let's go. Hey.
Yeah, go.
Yeah. Why you say that? Who won?
What good word?
Right.
You taking who pay?
Tell them right.
You not even taking 10,000.
Excuse me.
I mean 10,000 for nothing.
Excuse me.
Huh? Why your children, your wife suffering?
They're on live.
Why is
We have marked
with
parliament.
We fighting for this.
Economic freedom fighter of Liberia.
You understand? Okay.
I like the parliament.
And those criminals will not come here. I don't miss my word. They are not coming in here. Yes. Until the Liberia people 30,000 can be returned, the economic freedom fighters is at the front. We will not tolerate this nonsense again. We are fed up with it. They should be protecting our rights. They should be in the interest of the Liberian people. They shouldn't go against the interest of the Liberian people. How can few people, few people will just come, and just get the, whatever salary they want, because they can put it, nobody can go against it. The people will go against it. And now it has started.
No, I feel like already.
Has a parliament?
Why not? Why not? Why can't what they're doing? Why can't we don't want to like it all your hand? I don't know. We are not the house of parliament. We don't want to like it, but we are not it. We like it. You're supposed to join us. You're supposed to join us. Yes. We like it this morning. Nobody. We like it. That job done. We like it. And that guy, I agree, Joe. Brother, my man, once the Lord never believe, we don't have.
Okay. Welcome to the Republic of Liberia. To my team standing by. Okay. Welcome to the Republic of Liberia. That is on Capitol Hill. All right. The advocate of the group in Liberia is quite interesting. It reminds me of the January 6th incident here, except this one here. They were able to, for a little while, to subdue, to chain that gate. Instead, they were not until the 30,000 or 15,000 is returned. Okay. Welcome, the Liberal Progressive, Samson Bowne, still in his orientation. And I'm sitting in here for him. Hopefully, you're going to be very, very grateful here this evening. And Mr. Amos George is here. Gentlemen, good evening and welcome.
How you doing, Mr.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Soul, Mr. George. Good evening to you as well.
Okay. Well, let's start with this happened a couple of weeks or days ago. It happened right before our very eyes. It was live on cameras. Our guys were all there. And potentially the price is not being paid. We are getting report that Emmanuel Gongat, the guy who is the CIC of the Economic Freedom Fighter Group, EFLL, in Liberia, is currently being held at the correction facility in Liberia for this act. We don't know here the charges specifically, but we are hearing multiple charges will be brought against him. Look, let's start on this here. Was that a right way to go and change the capital to the first seat of government as a mean of protest? Could they do it differently?
Yes. This is a difficult situation. We all understand what is going on in the country. They have a legitimate right to lock the capital out. I think it was a little bit too much, because I believe everything you do it and keeping in line with law. You have the right to assemble there, but to lock the entire building, the government could bring several charges against them. So I do not know where the advice coming from. Tell them instead of going there to assemble, they go there assemble. If people, once you got enough people to prevent them from entering the BR, okay, they can do whatever they want to do. But that would be a peaceful assembly, so nobody could, even if the arrest will be misdemeanor. But when you lock the gate, the Capitol building, you lock it. I must be honest, that will come with some serious charges.
That will come with some serious charges. Okay, so let's see here. I will bring in the Liberal courtesy of some of our sister network television. They also have their lawyers, their defense team also spoke today. Let's see exactly what they are saying.
So, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Again, welcome to the media. We were watched at the Morovia Central Prison, where we were told that Emmanuel Gonkwa is currently within the facility awaiting you, the legal team, to set up a bond. Can you bring us up to speed?
Okay. So there is one lawyer that's representing Mr. Mario from Council. So Anthony Bakube and along with Anthony Alfonso World Dauda, the other lawyers, they are doing some work right now in an attempt to secure the temporary release of our client, given that it's completely innocent. His rights have been violated today at the Monrovia Central Prison. I mean, not Central Prison, at the Monrovia City Court. Our client informed us that he was arrested. He has not been accorded any due process, what is a procedural due process, or what is a substantive due process. He was not accorded due process. He was not actually given his constitutional right based on the charges against him. And upon the arrest, he sat for like an hour, 30 minutes or so. When the lawyers began to have interaction with him, he was whistled fast on the court, and I understand nice at the Mauritius.
Okay, so tell us about this 1 hour ultimatum that was given.
Let's move this here. Let's have the conversation going. Okay, the Liberator, we want to welcome Mr. Wilson, Didita Wilson Tabadi from PA right there. Thank you for sharing your evening with us. And of course, Mr. Jeremiah Geflot, good guys, they are here. The Liberator.
Yes, Mr. So, what
just to set the stage here, everybody I want to be in the eyes of the camera. I want to be seen as an antagonist to the government. And people get recognitions, and later on they tell them to run because they see them as an advocate. And so it's a tradition, it's something that has become normalized in Liberia that I know. So sit down after a little while, no attention. Let me do this here. And then I throw this bait out and I go behind the bars and I become a King Kong. I become a hero. That's the country we have, and that's what we're going to deal with here. But seeing what you're saying, those sort of images, the lackings of the capital fence, and he's behind bars tonight and with some of his foes. Who went to the extreme? GOL or the EFL?
Mr. So, these are things for me. They're very serious. They're very serious issue affecting our country. At the same time, you can't help but to laugh because many of the people that are sitting in the House of Representatives, many of the people that are sitting in the Hall of Government as we speak, high-profile government official as we speak, have done similar stuff like that. So this is nothing strange. However,
an eye for an eye?
Excuse me?
Is that an eye for an eye?
No. I'm just saying this is how for these young people. The fact that you in life, I guess, maybe me, but in life, you prepare yourself. You go through this process into town where you go on the farm, brush farm, everything. You say, I ain't able to want too lazy. I can't make farm. Blue, you put a color down, you come to Maria. You try going to school, you say, this school business is not easy. You're all in the street. Sooner or later, you're going to bump your head somewhere. You say, no, let's say I can't go to the farm. I can't sit in Monrovia because I don't want to be stealing and people flocking me on Attorney Tubman Stadium. So what choice do I have? I'm going to have to force either to educate myself or I go back on the farm. And some of us decided, well, we're going to try to fight with this school business, even though we were not that great at it, but we did what we could. These young people, after that, then what do you do when you're lucky? You come to the United States, educate yourself some more, and then you find a job for career. You build your career on something that you have learned and try to exercise that learning process by going. If you're a banker, you go to bank. If you're engineer, you go do engineer. If you're a lawyer, you go be lawyer. If you're whatever position or whatever position you find yourself in, you do it with honesty. But back home, they have nothing. They just there to say, okay, how do I get recognition? How do I get recognition? And once I get recognition, what do I do with it? First of all, let me bug the government, and then the government obviously going to fall in that trap and put me in jail. Then I will be standing up, and people are going to tell me to run. What this young man, what they have done here, Mr. Saul, not only ridiculous, but they call himself. This young man has been on our show platform so many times. He seems to be educated. He speaks well. He expresses himself. I mean, this young man, I believe, can stand among giants in terms of education and still be able to defend himself. But if you resort yourself to these kinds of tactics, that means your mindset is not correct. That means you are unable to express yourself educationally, intellectually. You are unable to express yourself. For that reason, you return back to violence, which is not right. The lacking of defense alone, that's a fire hazard. Remember, there's a guy here that did a movie of Clark. One time they did a movie here, they called the guy Clark, where Freeman played Clark. And in the real life, Clark locked the door and he went to jail for that. You can't lock these people up in case of fire. How do you expect the fire truck to go in there? Number one. Secondly, these people were elected. They didn't come to this position by appointment. They were elected. And if you feel these people are not performing the job that they're supposed to do, the Constitution gives you the right to stand against them. Constitution allow the time. When the time comes, you stand against them and make your case to the Liberian people. You can't say you're talking for the Liberian people, but yet still you don't believe in the Liberian people. You can't say you want to see change, but yet still you don't believe in bringing the change yourself. Mr. So, and these are the kind of look at people like Jefferson Kochi. He went through this kinds of stuff, standing in there, going to jail. Look at people like other folks in the government today. They've gone to jail, bucked the system, gone to jail. So when you come from jail, it's like a badge of honor. So this man going to look at the way he dressed. Does he look like somebody who cared for the punishment? No. This is why even though it was ruthless at the time, during Tubman time, they have what they call Bella Yala. When they take you there, while on your way going, your people crying because they know it's a very serious business. We don't have that. And I don't pray for that. But these young people need to understand this is not their farm. This is the Republic of Liberia for all of us. You can't treat us like this. This is ridiculous. Except because we're out in the diaspora, that means we have no claim to the land itself. And you're gonna poop all over the land and expect us to sit here and say you're doing well because you want power. This is a man that came on your show and was announcing that he wants to seek representative position. The same people Senator. How the heck are you gonna go and represent somebody with this kinds of mindset? You know, but then again, Mr. So, this is Liberia. You can get angry as you want. You have to take it and say, well, this is what we do. Even if I was in Liberia, most likely I probably would have behaved the same way. Why is it that we cannot see reason to move this country forward? It's very, and some of us, we do these things, Mr. So, to keep ourselves alive. Yeah, I am right here on this show. I'm praying to God to be alive for Wednesday's show, because there's going to be another thing that we're going to and keep us alive, to be honest with you, because nothing we do here, nothing we say here.
You still do your orientation to successfully operate this, so you don't want to even go there, because who knows whether you're going to be backing me again for Wednesday. Not Wednesday, you don't have a Wednesday. Okay. That's a different story by Israel.
Well, no, just keep rolling yourself, because apparently you don't know what time and who's hosting what. So keep rolling yourself in this here, and sooner or later you're gonna get out of it.
Okay. So, Mr. Joyce.
Yeah.
I don't know. The country itself. This is let me put this tweet out here from Mr. one of our follower, Mr. Jeremiah Geffler. He said, I'm not a member of the CDC, but the government of Liberia is weak. You cannot do that in this country. We live in the United States of Liberia. If you do that in this country, your house will be your home.
Yes, and not that you can't do it, but if you do so, you'll be accountable. We're seeing the
I'm not hearing you. Okay.
Yeah, hold on. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
We see the January 6th, what took place in Washington. We got more than 700 people now being arrested, being investigated, and some people now pleading to go to jail
Yes.
because
Federal charges
they
been
went,
brought against them.
yes, because they move on the Capitol. And it's almost the same thing because they went and shut and locked the whole place up, preventing lawmakers from going to work or coming out.
Mm.
And let me say this. Should I say that they don't have legitimate reason? No. They have like legitimate reason. But the channel in which now is being channeled, that also creates problem for people to see where you that yes, you got a legitimate cause. But the way you channel this thing is not the way to go. And yet not or they are now being put in the situation. And let me be very honest. You know, these things when you are doing it or if you are doing it, you must have allies. Organize. Do what they call within a network. Collaborate with other groups. But Emmanuel Gongo since the famous June 7 March, everything went head scattered. They started accusing him because I other group. So they now gone solo. Now, I don't know the strength of this group to say where they got a huge follower that if they grab the leader of this boat, start putting pressure on the government. I don't know. And these are some of the mistakes we advocates in Liberia and in the states some all continue to make. Because if we are champions, we will not want to coordinate with other groups so we can have that weight. That when the government say, hey, we got to address the people concerned. Now, Emmanuel going and his group going out there, I don't know how large is that group, but I want to see the aftermath reaction, what the Economic Freedom Fighter now will man up into the street. Let me see how much people will be able to mobilize. This is what we some of us are seeing. People advocate around Liberia and in the must work together. Because now one group of people will be able to champion the cause of every Liberian. Everybody got to
Do they have that? Do they have that ability? Do they?
No, it's not there. It's not there. This is why lacking. Now, you see them going to jail. Today, they were being taken to the central prison. Tomorrow, will be a group now to start mounting pressure to say, hey, we understand the data, but there's a cost. These are the factors. If you can correct it, then we'll not do this. Even though they will be charged, but who are the people that come to come up in the defense as the citizens? That what they were doing is for everybody, but were they coordinating with other groups? No. I know my right. I mean, sorry, June said they have fell over. They have been followed with other groups. So now, this is happening. And let me be very serious. The government will take advantage of these guys and we charge them because they look at who are the guys, who behind them. What they did, they have all
why would you say the government would take advantage?
Because they don't see the pressure group, they don't see the group that coming after it.
So are you saying if they have allies, they wouldn't be charged for that?
Or they would be charged, or maybe a lesser charge, and they would not be just thrown into jail like that. Look, Mr. So, this is politics. It's all about numbers. Why you think these people, when Henry Costa said he was going to Liberia, anyhow they were going to arrest him at the airport? But when they saw that crowd at the airport, they saw that crowd, they back off. They back off. They say, hey, it will make an attempt at this airport will go in flee. This crowd, we don't have people to control it. So you know what happened? Let them back off. These are some of the things that happen in politics. It's numbers.
So it's let me flip it on the other side now. I'm going to bring in the liberal here. Then I here as a free thinker, I want to know where is the law as well? Because if you say if the authority comes out, if the government or the U.S. or any other country for that matter come up with an announcement and that somebody you will be arrested because of certain things that you did, it means the government have all of the tools or have all of the backup, the legal backup plan for which the effect the arrest will be made. Making scenario to the June 7th, they saw Henry Costa, they saw the group, the backup. I listened to his podcast. I called him for the immediate release of these people. Other than that, they're going to gain this. They're going to be a peaceful demonstrations or whatever it is. And I see some of their actions just being stupid because they don't result into anything. First of all, they on a short span basis. They don't go and protest to achieve an ultimate goal, because when you protest, you want a result. You want to attract the attention, not just on the government. You want to make your case. It has to be properly calculated. But it looked like I think that they are used to, or we are used to in Liberia. Okay, other people did it this time around. This is what Mr. Our viewer comments and their tweets also matters as well. I'm gonna be putting this out here to Mr. Harris. He wrote something here. Let me just put it out here. Okay, this is Eugene said, Mr. So, Liberians are peaceful people. Burkina Faso guys burnt their house parliament. Our brothers own it like the gate. We are peaceful. So it's in giving justification of those people. Hey, you know what? Other people in Burkina Faso, they did the worst thing. But Burkina Faso is a land, Liberia itself. What might be applicable in Burkina Faso, it might not be applicable in Liberia. That's for I know. And this is our own daughter here. Children learn from their elders. That's how most lawmakers and prominent politicians came to the spotlight. Liberia leaders are the cause of everything. So you see these sort of diverse comments, opinions, views coming. Okay, you did it the last time around. We are doing it. Is that arguable?
No, it's complete nonsense. Look, people have the right to demonstrate. People have the right to assemble. It is constitutional under the Liberian law. But when you lack a public building, you are violating the law. Let's get that clear. What they did in Burkina Faso, if the authority feel that, hey, we can go after it, is our law permitted to go after them, they can go after them. This issue of prominent politicians, no. The first demonstration, I never did the word demonstration. The first demonstration I ever saw was in Liberia in 1979. We didn't see, because I was so afraid, because not far from JFK.
Oh,
So
you're afraid too? The way
I was afraid that I would let boy come here, man. So they said demonstration, that's something that we didn't even know what, so I didn't know the meaning of demonstration. But at 12 o'clock, we start hearing gunshots, sirens, and we start creeping to JF on the road to see what going in JF and coming. But the protesters at that time did not start vandalizing property. It was the government that provoked the situation. It was the government that shot first. That one had break loose. Now, fast forward. After the war, what we have seen, Honor George Ellen Johnson and George Weah, that one we saw people start throwing caskets in Liberia. Mr. Tolkien attest to that. That was we saw people start throwing caskets. So it was not every politician, it's a young breed of politicians that in power that now have introduced a kind of action in Liberia. But despite with that, we cannot allow our system laws just to be broken because we say we want to please a certain group of people. If people violate the law, they should be held accountable. If the government is doing it wrong, we have the right to assemble, to question the government. If it comes that you can petition the government to step down the law, the Constitution gives us that right. If y'all stay in the street and ask the government to come down, they said they should come down. That's the law. It's the Constitution. But at the same time, you cannot use violence to advocate in that direction and say, because since they did it, we should do it. No. Then we'll not be, if we say we want to move the country forward, we cannot go like that. So you want them to enter that one, you just go and lock the Minister of Defense or go to transfer and lock it up because they have been, their right have been infringed on. So what will happen with everybody? No. The Constitution says what? You have the right, you can collect 10,000 signatures to petition your lawmaker to resign. Or if you are unhappy, you can ask the government to step down peacefully. But he said that you people should go and start locking up buildings. No, it did not say so. So we have to be very careful here. What Joe Biden doing, is it right? No. There's a systemic problem in Liberia. Corruption, human rights, everything. But that doesn't give us the right or any individual right to go and start locking up buildings, public buildings. You want to demonstrate? Fine, demonstrate. But when you are demonstrating, remember, do it within the confinement of the law. Not to just go and start locking up buildings. No.
Are you calling the participant?
It's wrong.
Okay. Hold on 1 second. Let me see. Hello. Okay, I've not even opened the line yet, but I'm not sure whether this person is calling to participate. The Libra.
Yeah.
Are you in alignment with the guide?
I'm just waiting because it seemed like you guys started that yesterday, and our collaboration continue on. Mr. Josh is talking on and on and on, and you're not coming in to be the referee of this match, and you let him talk and on. Then when I'm getting ready to talk, you pick up the phone, hello, and then Mr. Josh continues. So I'm wondering as to whether we have some sort of a fair play type of rule here tonight.
You want to bind the studio down? You want to bind the studio down?
No, I think we're gonna have to lock LPR up to myself. I'm getting ready to. I'm getting ready to take the chain and put a chain to the door and lock the LPR up for some time. But because the management is not paying attention to me, all the attention is on you. He doesn't refer to me. He make all the reference to you. Since yesterday, this been going on.
Yeah.
And I think it's about time for me to have a demonstration.
We're not here for Baby Crowd talk here this evening. We're going to change the topic to tell us what's going on between Yomli Kanga and Hassan Belity. You people are the same very problem we are having.
So when we get there, we will discuss it. But right now, I'm just telling you because it seems like this.
You don't need to tell me. I've been very grateful by sitting in here. You have to learn.
Oh, we go. Yeah, okay. All right. Okay. Let's forget it.
Let's go. So you want to go in the gutter? I'm ready for us to swim like a pig.
No, we're not going to go in the gutter. I will have a peaceful demonstration. Don't worry about that.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, no, on a very serious note, Mr. So I think these people have the right, constitutional right, to demonstrate. And this is what is very painful when it comes to this young man. Even though I don't know him, but from the time he's been spending on LPRA, I think he's been here for maybe 3 times or so.
Yeah, from the 2017 election, Emmanuel Gonga, most of the releases he always send it here.
Right.
And yeah.
So he's been out here, and every time he comes out here, he doesn't miss his word. This young man is quite familiar with the English language. And you can't be able to speak well like that if you're not grounded into the English business. And this is what I'm saying that is painful, because he has the ability to debate issues that is affecting our people. He was angry. He didn't just get up in the morning and say, I'm going to lock the Capitol building. But because of some action the people at the Capitol were taking, perhaps he got angry. But that was not the right way to go about it. He should have been
trying to give justifications of his action.
No, there's no justification. I'm just saying something. If he really want to address what was happening, he has the ability. He can call on, and in fact, he can say, I want to have a press conference. And the press were going
he had a press conference in the past.
Exactly.
He had a press conference.
The press were going to be turning out to him to hear him. You don't have to resort to these kinds of violent action to be noticed. This is like a baby play in an overall scheme of Liberian politics. Now, what I suspect, and Mr. Judge speak on that earlier, if they find out this young man doesn't have that kind of support, they will throw the book at him. The court will throw the book at him. And even the bill itself might be huge. And not only that, then when the time comes to go to court, they will throw the book at him and he's going to go back to jail. They're most likely going to use him as an example of telling other people. Now, Mr. George made comment earlier about Costa going to Liberia, which I don't agree with. It was not because of the threats of the crowd that perhaps had the government changing their mind. I think Mr. George is quite aware of that because before Custer got to Monrovia, there was a debate within the government itself. Eugene Falcon would say when Custer came here, they were arresting. The Minister of Justice saying there's no arrest warrant set for Custer. So they couldn't even agree on what to do, let alone to try to say they're going to arrest Custer at the port. But even if they were to try to arrest Custer, what was going to be the implication? Nothing good was going to come out of it. This is my last point on here. If we're not careful, those of all that think this government need to resign or not resign, but need to be taken out to 2023 and be replaced. If we're not careful, Doctor, we are going to win re-election strictly based on freedom of expression, freedom of press, freedom of causing cause. That kinds of freedom that we have today in Liberia. These are things that are happening on his watch. And Liberians are so free now to the point that you go Capitol building during Tubber time. Frank Tubber, you gonna go to Capitol building? Are you kidding me? You know, but that's the kind of freedom we have and we're enjoying. So if we're not careful, those of us who want to replace the current government, this president might win just strictly based on freedom of Liberian movement and the security issue. I'm not playing with that.
Let me push back a little bit. Where is the freedom press? Where is Zina Miller today? Zina Miller.
No, but I think there are two different things there, though. Having the justice system to take effects of action is different than people also expressing. Even though it goes together simultaneously, you can't leave one of it. But to say where is it, people are having their discussion. People say things that they want to say in the air, even though, of course, there are consequences for things that you say as well.
Yeah, but today you have coastal registration equipment shut down and seized by the government. Is that freedom of expression? The last time Randy Sears said that his life was in danger. Philip Brown. So you cannot come and say, George, we have the freedom of expression. The press has been intimidated, harassed. Just recently, again.
Philip Brown came back to kick the can down the road to say, hey, George Weah is the best president in the history of Liberia. Yeah. How can we take these people serious?
He said that he's cussing now. So everyone wants to become related to George.
Yesterday, we're talking serious now. Today, he's saying something. So what's the seriousness in these people?
Just last week, a journalist, again, was manhandled by the government. So Mr. Toh, if you come to start singing that song, freedom of press, I just give you an example. What happened to these people? And let me say to you, the last one, let me make to you. The government, if they did not see those people at the time at the airport, let me tell you, the government wanted to arrest Henry Costa. But when they saw the multitude of people, that's how can they back off. There's no way around it. Don't sugarcoat it. If Costa, if 5 persons went to that airport, they would have got Costa arrested. But because they saw that crowd and the government don't have the capacity, let me tell you to handle that kind of crowd. So you see that why they back up. That's why they deny arrest Costa. Not that they.
So what happened with the Minister of Justice saying there was no arrest warrant for Costa?
The Minister of Justice said there was no arrest warrant. The information spokesman of the government said he would be arrested.
Where is the deputy?
What we are saying, the chief prosecutor. I think what the Liberal is saying, the chief prosecutor of the Republic of Liberia is the Minister of Justice, is because Eugene Falcon and they were acting like chicken with our head, jumping ahead. They try to be like the mouthpiece, even though they are the mouthpiece, but these institutions must coordinate the justice, the information, and all of these security apparatus when it comes to somebody being charged and that the government of Liberia are going to prosecute that person. There is the Ministry of Justice is the face of the government. But I don't think that consultation was done properly because somebody trying to get ahead of their shadow, like the case of Eugene Falcon, and he was just running his mouth without he knowing exactly what he was talking.
No, Mr. Todd, the man was being paid. They hired him before they fired him. How long the man was there for? So you can't say you were running him up. That was the mouthpiece of the government.
Well, I can't for sure say whatever he was doing that the government asked him to do, even though when he speaks for the governor of Liberia. But what I'm saying in this case, He just like, you know what? I'm doing good for the government, but the law has its own interpretation when there's a violation. You can't just get up and press charges. Before you press charges, you must have sufficient evidence for which, because at the end of the day, I don't care whatever charges it might be, those people are going to have their own defense team, and you're going to be argued of in the court of competent jurisdiction. But some of these folks, in as much they are dialing to the president, they didn't take that into consideration, and that's why you saw Musa Ding say, "Hey, this is not the case," and I think that was one of the reasons.
It just
Okay,
really how inept the government is.
so yeah, before we change it, why these, why our folks, why they behaving the way they are behaving, even though we saw it work the last time around. And that's what I'm saying. There's no evidence that even going to come to an end, even when George we are in the CDC government leaves, because it would be even worse. It would be ugly, and would they also have that political tolerance to allow this as well? Because every now and then, that's what people want to do. They do it. They don't have the ability to organize themselves, present a sound petition, make the case why they are doing what they are doing, but end up. I remember what was that incident? That was 1986. The William V.S. Tutman High School. We were involved in, so that scarf is still in my back here today. Because I remember there was an incident with the Morovia Consolidated School System issue in Tutman High, the D12, Morovia Central High, all of the MCSS school, they both junior, and was a massive, one of the biggest demonstration. And I remember people came by 72nd, where the army barracks.
Yeah.
Because the police could not contain that. But the next thing we saw, the whole group, people were barricaded from the education ministry. The group came from Ghana Bay era. And believe me, people were flocked. Things happened. It was terrible. If you're an ordinary person and you wore, for some reason, you wore maroon, and where you have maroon down and white top, you consider a Stratman High student. And you will really pay the price. But it has, it's a kind of tradition now. People do these things, and I don't, because the main thing here, I yet to get the key end result when they do these things, and the span of it. They get here today, tomorrow, the next day, it disappear. Just how when things happen, the very opposition. That's what it is. That's what the apprehension is. Okay, they must hold the government accountable, but it must be done in such a way that people will also take them serious. When something happens, everybody will go like a wildfire geese who will talk about it. But in a 2 or 3 days time, they all gone back to their normal business. So people don't even take them serious. They are not willing to take the risk that should be taken to hold the government accountable. That is not the case. More or less, their thing is all political, and to see them as a giant, to see them as a Goliath, and at the end of the day, people will petition them to go run for state office. So, and that's what I say, and I will continue saying that they are not doing it for me. Whatever they're doing it for themselves, because people are getting 15,000, people are getting 30,000 now. They too want to go there. They also want to have 9 years, 6 years as representatives and senators. That's the bottom line. That's why you see the whole political system, both in the government and the opposition, is a chaotic situation. The liberals.
Mr. So, I think, if you can hear me, that is, I think what is happening in Liberia right now with these people going around and demonstrating, threatening demonstration and what have you, you haven't seen anything yet. Wait till this government, the CDC government, is out. The fearful thing of all this now is that when they're out, they're not just getting out, they will be getting out with some money. And the fact that they're going to have money, they will be able to manipulate the young people with whatever little money they have. And they will be in the street causing problems for the incoming government. So this is not something to say this is CDC government versus no. We have to take it serious right now, because this is one of the things that if we're not careful and not handle it properly, this might be something that will hinder the progress of development in Liberia, because you cannot have a development and have the young people all in the street trying to damage things and carry on. And in fact, I would say The CDC government, once their time is over, once CDC time is over, once CDC time is over, and the next government comes in, they're not going to play around like what people are doing. You're having one or two people in the street. CDC would first, they're most likely going to start at the top at the those stadium. Okay, at the those stadium, pack the stadium, rile them up, and say, now let's go. And then you will see them getting in the street of Monrovia just to have the government be occupied. Because these people, if they get defeated, and Dr. Weah, I think most likely will accept the defeat. But many of the people who's going to be behind Dr.
And we have to come to that conclusion now.
Well, Mr. So I'm allowed to. And
no,
then,
I'm just asking. I say, as if can we come to that conclusion now that the CDC will be defeated comes 2020?
of course, they got nothing to offer. CDC is going to be out. CDC is going to be out. There's no other way around it. They're going to be out. We're going to get it. But I'm just saying the next government should be prepared, because CDC, even though if Dr. Weah accept defeat, which of course he will, once that happens, then those who around Dr. Weah, and they already got money. They don't depend on Dr. Weah anymore to give them money. So what they're going to do is cook heavy food at CDC headquarters and say, let's meet at the stadium tomorrow. Then they meet at the stadium and rile them up and say, this government is doing X, Y, and Z. Let's go and let's have a demonstration. You think cost a demonstration or something? Watch and see how these people play the game. They'll be worse than what's happening right now, Mr. So.
Okay, let's go to our first caller, and then I will come back here. Our man, Kemu, is on the line from Texas here. Kemu, are you there?
Hey, I'm here, Mr. So. How you doing?
Good evening. So welcome.
Thank you so much. I would just like to pick up from where my papa ended.
The liberal?
That we have to do something, or else the young people will be, more than what we are experiencing now. So I will pick up from there, but I would also like to inform you that, you see, our society, the inequality in the society is very huge. People who in authority today working, once upon a time, they had nothing. And they got into that position, instead of them thinking about how people can be empowered, there should be job available for young people to work. They are not thinking about it. They are amassing more wealth. If I were in Liberia today, I'll be with Emmanuel Gongo right now, because I can sit in Liberia there, somebody taking 30 grand, doing nothing, absolutely nothing.
So what you be doing with him?
Here myself gonna go and lock that place. In fact, it will be consistent until they can understand that the money they're taking is not belong to them alone. We all should benefit. Let me get another example. Let's look at what happened at University of Liberia campus. The university authorities sat down, they came out, they said they want to have e-learning program. They never take into consideration electricity, internet facility, and everything. They just can't impose on the young people. And we have a country where everybody, like, especially young college students, they have a difficulty when it comes to accessing the internet. And you just come with that kind of policy. And then when young people get on the street, they say, oh, the people want to destroy it. They want to do this, they want to do that. How the other people in the country will sit down and get made decisions if they say they don't understand what happened in the country? Why is it that lawmakers will sit down and put 30 grand in the budget for themselves? Are we not paying no people? We're giving them cars, we're giving them benefit, we're giving them scratch card, we're giving them gasoline. What else they want from us?
So if it is happening now, Kemu, let's have a little bit of conversation now. If this is happening, I know if it is not right, and we know election is next door, what exactly we should be doing? What is the alternative?
The alternative here is that we gotta keep engaging them, or how they call it, constructively, radical ways, so that they can understand that.
And the reason I'm asking this question here is the opposition, because if this is not right, which of course some of the things are not right, it doesn't make sense. Our own Professor Zawlo here, who support the government, came here and condemned the situation, especially when it came to the e-learning. Now, is the opposition, are they capitalizing on these, something to say, binary of errors? Are they capitalizing on that to have the kind of conversation, to also show their agenda, so also keep the talking point, instead of doing it? And that was something said. I'm saying it. In as much as is horrible, the policy and everything going helter skelter as it is, if the opposition, if they don't put their acts together, You see what's going on between Yombli Kangat, the Darius Dillons, and Hassan Belate with this sort of crazy stuff here. These people are not they are just a bunch of greedy people. They're going to be no different than what the CDC is doing now. That for sure I can say it. Seeing their attitude, their behavior, and the way they do things, the way they address things, the way their conversation goes, they will not be no different from what is happening here. That's my fear. It's not an issue of just moving because we Liberian people have the tendency. And yesterday say, "Oh, Helen is better now." The last time, "Oh, Doe was this." By the time we go look again, another baby born journal will say, "Oh, even though CDC were there, but at least." I mean, some of us are sick and tired with this sort of thing. Go ahead before I go to the next caller.
Yeah, thank you so much. There are two things I would say on the. What I'm differing with him on is the issue of freedom of expression or what have you. Today in Liberia, there are a lot of instances people go out and express themselves. They've been beaten. For example, on the coronavirus issue, people can't even wear masks, but they can beat people for not wearing masks. You know, you can't even express it in so many ways. And coming to George Weah issue when it comes to election, you know, strength, whether you be re-elected, if that on freedom of expression part, no, George Weah will not be on our side. In fact, George Weah don't want to be re-elected. In fact, you don't want to be there. So let's just talk about that. The most important thing the question you ask concerning the opposition is that the opposition, they are not scoring points on the weaknesses of the government. In fact, they are not giving information on how they're going to raise the economy from $500 million or $600 million. They are not doing that. In fact, they are not even leaving for Monrovia to go in the heater to engage the people to tell people exactly their plan for the country. They are living all in that kind of situation where we just like, you know what, it's better to be with the devil, you know, than the angel. You are not.
That's what you hit the point. That's exactly what people will end up doing.
So the next thing that will be happening is that even if George we are having to win second term, the young people in Liberia will continue to be protesting for things that they deserve. And nobody should sit on the radio or on the TV and say that, oh, the young people at all make all this and that. No, like children learn from the elderly people. You work in the money, you see your dad, the way your dad can dress up, the way he can organize the home, the way he can organize everything. That's how you learn from him. Our leaders in Liberia, they are not organized. We got a president, he goes to and singing Mama Rita. And you know, the country, he can't get no information about the job market, how many jobs he has created since coming to power, nothing, but he's still singing Mama Rita. We're not going to be sitting and listening to that kind
Mama
of story.
Mama Rita. And a Rita birthday.
I want to say clearly, clearly, if I want for the young people to be peaceful and listen to the elderly point in front of you, tell them exactly what needs to be done.
All right, thank you, my man.
There'll be more to that.
All right, thank you so much, folks. Please bear with me. Let's engage ordinary Liberians here, how they feel about their own country. Before bringing our contributor, Mr. Jackson, here, let me bring in this number 346, number 3746. Caller, good evening. What's your name and where you calling from? 346. Are you there? 3746.
Yeah, Mr. So good evening.
Good evening.
And good evening to your co-hosts, George and Mr. To.
To can be my co-host. The program gonna go helter scatter. He can't be my co-host. Go ahead. I just kidding.
I want to leave you all discuss about me.
I know, right? Amado, go ahead.
Mr. So, you know, our country it is discouraging. You know, every time when we think that we will be able to get something better from one branch of the government, I mean, you notice that the three branches of government are worse. When you think the executive is doing wrong, you say, let me run to the people who elected lawmakers. The lawmakers will dump you. When you say, let me run to the judicial branch of government, it even gets worse.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, what kind of a country you have corruption take over the entire country? There is not one branch of government, not one, that you can run to say, I am struggling on this side, let me go on this side, I will get some kind of assistance.
To get a result.
There is not one. Liberians are calm. Liberians are a good set of people. What's happening in Liberia is not happening in other countries like ours is. Other countries, you go there, if one branch of government is terrible, you will get solace from another branch of government that will, you know, be doing something in the right form and manner. But our democratic form of government in Liberia, it is just terrible. Which country you have lawmakers who are taking over $15,000, will claim to be doing the right thing because according to them they want to be legal? They take extra $30,000 plus and put it in the budget for individual lawmakers. Because according to them, they want to be legal. Because they don't want to do it through the brown envelope. They say when it passes through the budget, we will say it is legal. And what all of them are saying, like, I don't know what they say, but the money is not illegal. All of them are the excuse they have. What did they do with the $30,000? You have lawmakers now are getting married. Someone who does not get married, all the time they get $10,000, most of them are getting married.
Oh, my
The
man.
purpose for the money? Yes.
Okay, all right. A lot of volumes of call coming here.
Now, you know, the lawmaker, my own brother just got married recently, Hassan Kazulu. I can't just got married recently. I mean, there is not even both opposition and the ruling party is that they are competing.
Okay, they'll leave it there, my man. Don't let your pressure go. Oh, we ain't get insurance for that. I want
Terrible for us. So, and they are just leaving the young people in limbo. Really, I mean, they are not giving the young people the way forward.
Okay.
They are making it difficult for the young people.
All right.
So I mean, the solution, we just have to keep trying, but I know the solution is far. It's not here.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, Mr. Jackson, but let me go to Australia here with this number here, and we'll come right back to you. After these two persons, I'm going to go back to my panelists for us to have a little conversation. I believe it's Australia, right? 614 number.
That's correct. George Wheeler here from Australia.
Okay. Oh, okay. The 2 hour man contributor. Mr. Widow, good evening and good morning and welcome.
Yeah, good morning from my end. I'm so glad I've been following you, even though I'm at work. I just came out of a meeting. But look, there's something I want to say. And look, everyone who has contributed this morning has a valid point. But what I see and that I wish to talk about is that we are not addressing the cause of the corruption in Liberia. The root cause is expectation. So, for instance, the lawmaker knows that before he can be elected, he has to take people's children to hospital. When somebody will deliver, he has to buy things. When somebody was seeking hospital for medical, he has to go to spend money. He has to do everything for everybody before he can be elected. Trust me now, if he's elected, where does he get that money from? Where did he get that money from? Everything. Our expectation to these people is too much, overwhelming. So even if you, Samson Bowne or Mr. So, you are put in that position, you will do the same thing because the expectation will be overwhelming. And if you don't do it, you are a bad person and you don't get re-elected, your legacy is destroyed. So let's come to ourselves. I think what happened to DeLong should serve as a very good reminder of what can happen in political spectrum.
What happens to DeLong?
People need DeLong has realized that it is not that easy to maintain the momentum that he brought because of the expectation. If you go to DeLong House, for instance, you meet people there every time you go there. And guess what? Those who are not just there to clean his house, even though they do that, to brush his grass, no. They are there because they want something. And if the money he got is not sufficient, what will he do? He will accept money to still continue to meet the expectations of these people. And if that cannot be met, it's no longer the law or the life, because people will now start to say he's mean or he's nothing.
Okay, let me hold you. You are two of our contributors there. Let me hold you and bring in Mr. Jackson here. If you have the time, just hold on. Let me just bring in here. Mr. Jackson, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good evening and welcome.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's hear from Massachusetts. Let's hear from the liberal state.
Okay. Here is my take for these guys. I see that their intention is great, to create awareness. But, the action is wrong, totally wrong. And what I mean is there are so many options that, that they could use, to create awareness, to the public. One of them was, if you listen to Yomli Kanga interview with Sekou Kone, there are a lot of information that had to do with the budget and how they came about, to create, that $15,000 or $30,000 into the budget. And if they were to get hold of these people, they would have used it one action was to sue the government based on what Nyombi Kanga said. That whenever they debate the budget, the first draft of the budget that will come out, they will debate it, they will say they approve. When they go for them to finalize it, it will come up with different figures. And you understand? So if you could get the information, you can use it to say, okay, we can go and use the political parties or the opposition to say, look, I want you people to stand by us. We will create awareness by suing those people. They can do it. But for you to go and lack the capital billing, that alone is a wrong action to me. You didn't send anything, you are not saying anything good to the public. Because what? That only hooligans result into that. You understand? The other thing is you could start a protest to show that you are, you're serious, to do something. But you can't go and to say you will lock the capital building up. And you understand? And that send a message to the government itself. If you listen to them, they told us, they went in the building and went and marked the whole building up to see how many security forces were on duty. Now, if you look at government payroll, one of the largest number of and civil servant employees is the security. Where are they when there was a breach of the Capitol building? And you understand? And for them to see this guy, few group of people to go and just lock the Capitol building, then it go to tell what Pa George is saying, that if they don't have any strong, and numbers to back them, they will feel the pain of the war. Just watch the government going to use it. If they don't have a force, if the political party don't support them, you know what's going to happen? They're going to linger in jail. And let me use my time to the rest of the people.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Let me go back to my team of contributors and analysts here at the Liberal Progressive and Pa George.
Let me say this. We should not make excuses for people who are robbing the country.
Hold on one second.
We should not make excuses for these people. You look at the job description, the salary, that you know how much you're supposed to make. And you take that job. Then you come back to say, oh no, I got extra expensive because this and that. What needs to be done is that create laws, make laws that will start with from coming to you to beg you for tuition, for school fees, for hospital bill. Make the law, let the facility be accessible to serve the people. But when they are not doing it, what do you expect these people to do? Because this is why they want these people to reduce themselves to mere beggars, so they can continue to use the fire intention to use them. People just received $3.7 million. And you tell me $3.7 million could not build 15 hospitals in Canada, Migrate or Bassa that will accommodate the children. GFA could not be fully renovated other hospitals in Monrovia to alleviate that suffering that the people are going through with medication. No. They don't think on it. What the thing is that we'll keep people in this kind of condition so they can continue to look up to us as leaders. Because the moment we make education accessible and affordable to these people, the children will start questioning us, and we don't want that. So what we do, we keep them at that level and exploit them.
Are you saying it's politically calculated?
It is calculated. It's politically calculated by these people. They know it. Why these people that make that kind of money? Why the country is not improving today? Look, I'm not one of those who say, George, we are going to come and perform miracle. The system has been like that. That's how the system has been designed. And the only thing someone ought to talk today, John working on the model of change. That look, I have seen all the mistakes, 12 years. I have seen everything. I'm not come to improve your life. That was what he promised the people. Today, now the people have become more spectator than ever before in their own country. This is calculated by this guy.
Okay, you mentioned a good point here. Let me throw this kitchen sink at the laborer. I don't know whether he's talking to Nyombli or Aros DeLon because his attention now with us. I need his attention here.
Okay.
Go ahead quickly before he responding to Kangat text. Go ahead, Pa George.
So they see George where? 2017. He said, why the country was not developed or because of Joseph Boakai? Because lack of vision. And Joseph Boakai was rebel. He's supposed to defend the law and defense for those who was a judge we are. And today what he's doing. So the guy know exactly what they are doing. If there should be no excuse for any guy to say, oh, people every create a law that will create the facilities. If someone got going to free school or a good school, government school that the children can afford, the parents can afford to go there, what will make someone in the morning to leave the other go sit down to your office? You think those people don't have self-pride? They don't have self-esteem? They have it. But the government, the people in government create the solution that people must be mere beggars to them. So they can look up to them and follow a Messiah. And this is why we should stop it. Let the government create a condition for everybody to participate, to have equal.
We can stop that. Let me, Deliberate, are you with us?
I am. I'm listening.
Okay. All right. Let me do here. Just take it away very briefly. Let me do a quick technical work here. Yeah, because it looked like I don't know who you're communicating with. So, are you there? Go ahead.
It's not a matter of communicating with people, Mr. So I'm just listening. But once again, I think this whole issue here with what is happening in our own country. So like I said, we just do these things to have conversation with our brothers and sisters, just so that to keep us alive. To be honest with you, because to be very frank, what is happening right now? Dr. Weir came to power, however way he came to power, and what have you. Right now, you can go and hold their feet to the fire if you, as an opposition, have no plan of your own. And what is happening in the opposition, I know they have plans because I know that. But I think
the plan,
Mr. So, we're not going to show you nothing. Especially you help
like the same very CDC. We're not going to show you something.
We're not going to show you until, but here is what I want you to understand. A political party has stages. They have leadership. They have responsibility. Unlike CDC, the opposition do have responsibility. The opposition are very transparent. The opposition know exactly what it is that we need to bring out. Now, you don't expect Samson who is only a member of Liberty Party USA to come and speak for us. I'm not a spokesperson for anybody. But the point that I'm trying to make to you here, Mr. So, is this. The opposition, we have people that are in charge. And those people, if you need information, reach out to them. And for some reason, if they're
can you help me out? Because I've tried a million times.
Mr. So, this is what you don't understand. I have no contact with the folks in Liberia either. I'm just speaking here because of some of the things that I've been reading. It's not like I have an inside soul or inside track or whatever. I don't. But this is what I'm saying to you. This is what I'm saying. And everything that I've been saying all throughout these months is being based on common sense. This is what I'm saying to you. This government, we are led government, have made so many blunders that if we were the opposition were to pick up on those blunders and start giving up information, then I think Liberians will not be served. We will take note. The government must succeed because the government is here to keep. You can't have two governments at the same time. We are opposition. I understand that, but we are not in charge to run the government. So if the government make the mistake, we will remind the people. But we can't come out here because the government make a mistake and then we start singing a song and what have you. We can't do that because we want this government to manage the affair of the Liberian people. If they make a mistake, we will point them out. But we're not going to sing the song of it until the time allotted by the Constitution has come out. Then we can bring these things out. But for now, we want the judge, we are government, to succeed. And in so doing, we're not here to try to flame the fire of disunity, flame the fire of dishonesty, flame the fire of whatever it is that you people want us. We're not going to do that. We will let this government run this business. And if the government continues to make blunder, the Liberian people are also watching. We're not going to try to capitalize on the blunders of this government, on the inept behavior of this government, and try to act like we're government in waiting. No, Liberian people have not made a choice. They decided that they wanted Dr. Weir to be the head of the home. And so we will respect that, and we will obey that, and we will let Dr. Weir and his people to function the way they're supposed to. Because if it's come our turn, we want the people to give us the same difference that we're giving them. Mr. So, if you people don't understand the operational factor of the Liberian opposition, I'm just giving it to you. I'm laying it out here. We want this government to succeed. If the government blunder, we will make that clear later on. But this is not the place for us to come every day and say, oh, we're going to capitalize on that one. Oh, they did this. We're going to. No, that's not how you run opposition, especially opposition that have interest of the Liberian people, opposition that want to make sure the Liberian people succeed. And this is the government the Liberian people have given us. We must work within that government. We must criticize, but we should do so with respect and responsibility, Mr. Soul.
You want to get a glass of water?
I'm just putting you in the center right in your position. You always come out here, especially you conservative, come out here with the opposition. Why aren't they taking this opportunity? Why? No, this is not about opportunity. This is about the country of the Republic of Liberia. Liberians must succeed. Whatever government the Liberian people give us, we should work within that government. We will criticize, but we must do so with responsibility. Not every little thing that the government done that is wrong, we should try to capitalize on it, as you and your center right continue to suggest. I'm just trying to be a counterweight here this afternoon.
All right, thank you so much. So, Pa Joyce,
Yeah.
is the Liberal speaking in an executory tone, or is he speaking a language that we can't understand? That maybe you want to get that on to our listening audience?
No.
You get anything that he was saying?
No. You know, but those are the liberals, so they go that route. What we are saying here, we're not saying that the government, the opposition should go to attack the government, bring it in down, but they have a responsibility to hold this government feet to the fire. There are so many things that are taking place in Liberia that we need the opposition to be forceful. Okay, we saw the 32,000 issue. Only one political leader that came and spoke. There's another comments. Where are the other people? You have serious issue going in the country. Every day there's some demonstration in some ministry or agency demanding the rights. These are issues the opposition need to address and put forward the way forward if they are in charge of government. How are they going to do it? But we can't sit down there and say, well, we've got to wait the election now before we start criticizing them. No. Because it means that if the opposition is not doing it, it means that everything is going well in the country. People go into court, they cannot get justice. People are missing. There's no redress from the government. It's not time for people to wait. The opposition must come forcefully to address the issue. Just recently, the United States government threatened to hold funds from the government of Liberia if they don't strengthen the trafficking laws. Just one, I think on the 4th.
Mm-hmm.
The ambassador even went to the point that he had to take a booklet to give it to the Minister of Justice and the Supreme Court. And I'm telling them, you don't know what you're doing. This is the book you read. This is the lawyer go and fix it. Let the lawmaker make laws. These are critical issues that the opposition is supposed to come and address the issue. It means that we do not have a government, because if we have a government, that a foreign country have to come and give you a pamphlet to tell you this is what you're supposed to do to follow the law, and if you don't do so, we want to hold money from you. That is an insult to the integrity of that government and to the nation as a whole, to tell you what kind of law we
But
have.
Mr. Judge, I hate to interrupt.
No. You don't do this to us here, Samson. You went on here for 10 minutes. Nobody interrupted. Can you let the young man? I'm not even spoken. I'm not even saying anything here. You want to?
But you're not supposed to, because you're supposed to be the ref, unless you're taking side as usual.
So these are the things that opposition is supposed to be addressing. These are what we're talking about: systemic corruption in the system. Because if there was not systemic corruption, why do you think the United States government would be telling the Liberian government, we will hold funds from you, we will give you pamphlet to go and read so you can decide how to fix the law? The national legislature telling them you have to You have to strengthen the law on trafficking in the country. That is to tell you the kind of government we have in Liberia today. And the opposition remains silent on this. The issue centered around fundamental human rights. We expect the opposition to come and call a press conference and put some weight behind it. But we cannot say, oh, we are responsible opposition. We will not say anything until the election and that one will start putting everything out there. No. You tell us where they are wrong and how you think you're going to make it right, or what the way forward. This is why the opposition should be there for, because what you always say that they are government in waiting. So this is what we somehow expect. But don't come there and try to cover up for them. So we do our thing when we're ready. No. It's not about you when you're ready. It's about the people, the Liberian people. They are the ones who feeling this pain. They are on the front line. Mothers and children wake up in the morning looking for food to eat.
Mr. George, I think you're being sentimental here, to be honest with you. And that's not the area we want to touch. We all know Liberians are feeling the pain. My point that I'm making to you and the far right host of this show, the point that I'm making to both of you here is this: the opposition have the right to criticize, but because you have the United States or any other foreign government trying to say this is how it's supposed to be, and therefore you think that the opposition should jump on it, that is not acceptable. These people make their comment, they have the right to make a comment. The opposition will speak when they find it necessary. Yes, the reason they are in opposition now, they will be in government tomorrow, and they want to make sure when you are elected as a government, when you are elected as a government, you have the constitution framework guiding everything else you do. Now, you should be very happy that we have an opposition that understands that fight. They do not want to come and interrupt the government functioning. We don't want to come in and say because the government make a mistake and other foreign country are pointing that out, therefore we have no. They are saying.
I think you are narrowing your talking point here this evening.
Mr. So, this is not a talking point. This is
you're narrowing it down here, and that's just been disservice to the audience. And
why is that? Why is that? Because I'm being truthful. I'm telling you, the opposition should not. I'm telling you this. No, Mr. So I'm telling you, the opposition should not just get up and try to criticize because the people make blunder. They've always done that. That's fine.
That's not what we are even saying.
But that's why you guys are saying, why is it that opposition are not taking opportunity of the blunder the government has made?
Let's lower the temperature here a little bit. I know when it comes to this whole thing here, you always hyper and try to throw tantrum here. That's not going to work. But yeah, what we are saying, Mr. George outlined several points, critical points, that you as an opposition, what is the courage you're trying to give me? What is what is the life that you're trying to bear within me when people are missing, auditors, and the list goes on and on and on, ship and all of that. We can't even see this. We can't see this group of people who they are saying. I don't know what sort of collaboration. I don't know how they define
Mr. So how
please? Can you give me a chance, please?
Okay, go ahead. You see, this is what you okay. All right, go ahead. Make a point. Make your point. Make your point.
Man, I don't like people to put me off base. Now that we can't see these people to come together for God's sake and see that sort of oneness in them, but yet then still say they still. We're collaborating and everybody can do on their own. This is how the hell is breaking out of loose now within your party, your Liberty Party, with Nyomdi Kanga Lauren, Hassan Belete, and all the other folks. This is ridiculous. You are not posting, you are not serving as alternative. And we're saying it in as much as this government is so terrible bad in policy, their information sharing, how they come out. My prediction as well, this could possibly roll over if the same very opposition come to take state power, because everybody wants to feel his or herself as the face of the group. instead of them forming a coalition, instead of them forming that sort of togetherness to address this issue and stand up for us and stand up for the country. And you dishing out empty words here to us at the same time telling us we must wait another time. Yeah, come on, Samson. Yeah,
Mr. So,
yeah.
Mr. So, there's nothing you and the central right have for me that will make me quiver. Nothing. Now, let me say this again. The government of Dr. Weir were duly elected, if I may remind you, 61.5% of the electorate.
I'm aware.
Okay. When they came to power, whenever you are elected, the Constitution gave you the mandate to manage the day-to-day affair of the government of the Republic of Liberia.
Correct.
I also want to remind you, Liberia is not a banana republic. Liberia is a constitutional republic. And Liberia has three functioning type of government. We have the legislature, we have the lawmakers, we have the judiciary, we have the executive. The executive run the affair of day-to-day affair of the country. Now, opposition, I agree. There should be an opposition. Opposition, my understanding, opposition, if you're opposition, you engage the government of things that you think the government is not doing and that they should be doing. You don't engage the government in the form of antagonizing the government. You don't engage the government in a form of saying, I got you type of opposition. This is not a good opposition. An opposition is the opposition that's supposed to be there and make sure that things are done right. However, the opposition that you have in Dr. Joseph Boakai and the rest of the group, they are there to make sure if something is wrong, they will say so. However, they are also mindful. The Liberian people have made their election. They elected Dr. Weir to manage the day-to-day affair of the country. Therefore, they cannot and should not take opportunity that if the government of Liberia make a blunder, they do that every day. But that you don't expect the opposition because they made a blunder. Therefore, they should come out and capitalize on that. Now, you're talking about people dying. I understand that. The opposition being involved. What exactly are we going to achieve on that? The government. Okay, the government. Hold on. I'm not done yet. You two been talking for a while now. I didn't say anything. The government is supposed to be able to give this type of information to the public. If the government is not doing so, the opposition take note. The opposition cannot come and run a quasi government. Mr. Soul, the opposition cannot come and run a quasi government, a government on the side of the legitimate government. We're not going to do that because we don't want anybody to do that to us. Therefore, we will criticize, but we must do so with responsibility and we must do so with respect, if you don't mind.
Let me tell you, Mr. Toll. Mr. So you heard Mr. Toll last statement because we don't want them to do that to us when we are in power. See that? Let me say this: if anybody's life in Liberia is taken away by mysterious in any mysterious form, it is incumbent upon the opposition to demand an immediate investigation. A boat was going to Maryland, capsized. Scores of Liberians died. Is that something that you said that the opposition should not come up with a statement to inquire, to call the government to demand a complete investigation into it? A Trump police officer, 3 police officers jumped on a man allegedly. He died. The opposition should keep quiet because they don't want when they are in power and doing, they should ask them.
Mr. Joyce, you see, this is exactly that you want the opposition to do. You're trying to capitalize on the sentence. And I spoke for almost 2-3 minutes, and you're trying to take one sentence and run with it. This is something that you want the opposition to do, and we're not going to do that. Go ahead and make your point.
Well, no. When you are speaking, you said I should not say anything. So when I'm speaking, just give me a chance.
Okay. Yep. Okay. It's yours. It's all yours.
So don't put on Mr. Soul because you had a floor, you had a mic, you spoke length of it.
Okay,
You
all right, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. I
say,
think he's doing. I think he's doing his job tonight. I might give it to him. Go ahead.
okay. Now, when these things are happening, and we hear from the opposition, that it makes us to wonder how they want to take this, what direction they want to take this country to. What is more important when your citizens die of negligence, not some a natural, not a natural disaster, but a man-made. That's negligent. And the opposition don't come to say anything. Then we say, okay, they'll wait. They'll wait yet. Each time to ask the government. When you have people staying in the ring, beating them, they say the bear market, water to their knees. No, don't say anything because we don't want them tomorrow to come after us.
No,
This is
Mr.
wrong.
Judge,
This
Mr.
is wrong.
Judge.
The opposition need to be forceful and forthcoming. I'm not saying they should go and start breaking things. This and that. No, but they should be forceful so that like people can see that there are people who want to change this country direction, the trajectory of this country, because we can see now how they're moving. But when this thing happening, the opposition is not seeing anything. The government saying anything. They say, hey, Maritime Maxima say, okay, we want to investigate. It's gone about 1 month. Nothing yet from the Maritime people to tell us what's happening with us. So this is what we are talking about. That the government, the opposition, as you said, their government is working. They must be forceful. They must hold the government feet to the fire.
Mr. George, let me just remind you one thing, please, if you don't mind, Mr. So, and they're just going to be 1 minute the most. Let me remind you of something. The government should and have the ability to investigate. If something, for example, the ship that went down, the government said they're going to investigate. We can't jump ahead of that because the investigation process is coming. We now going to say we're going to do our own investigation. We're not going to do that. The Liberian people are color, they can see. They can see. They don't need the opposition to speak in order for them to know something bad. Mr. George, they don't need the opposition to speak in order for them to know the government has blundered. The government has blundered. And these are things we bring out during the election to say the government did this. We're going to do it differently. We're not. My main thing I want you to understand is that the opposition should not be a quasi-government in the way you and Mr. So are suggesting. Stay on the side and watch. Oh, they say something. Blue, you jump in. No. We're not going to do that. And when I said that we don't want them to do the same thing constitutionally, if you don't understand that, let me say that the Constitution gives Dr. Weir and this government to manage the day-to-day affair of this country. Anybody else that poke their nose in it and their nose need to be grounded.
Okay. So, all right, let me come in here a little bit. What a good conversation, and to our viewers and followers. You know, we also take our onliners. People come here, they take up their time, energy, not that they are less busy because they do have interest in what's happening. So we look at the comments, we look at your views, and even in the process of the program and after, and it becomes a learning process, and for us to also have a conversation. So that's what we do here. Let me go to Mr. G. Axe V. Gwe here. This is his comment. Mr. So, I'm one of your followers of your show, but you confuse me always. You seem to be speaking for CDC government. Please do not be like spoon talk. You are a good man. Okay, yeah, is the deal here, Mr. Gwe. I wish I was empowered to speak for the government. If it was the case, I don't think this sort of chain of a broken exchange of communication were being in this direction. And I don't think the CDC, because first of all, they don't listen. But yeah, it's the deal here. And you will agree with me to some extent, because we need to have this sort of interaction to not everybody like to call. That's their way of expressing and participating when we're having this conversation. So once it's put forward that we have to, with due respect to a dialogue with them. I'm quite sure some pressure is being mounted on you by family members, friends, because of the way the government in Liberia operates and the way people are making life becoming so difficult. So if we have a group of people, they are already there. What we are trying to avoid here, what happens the last time around when we did not hold our leaders But those who wanted to take state power, we did not hold their feet to the fire. And the president, there was a debate, and he said he was going to France or whatever. The debate wasn't matter. Now we are trying to avoid that sort of slip that we have. So for me, I'm a little bit curious and a little bit concerned here that somebody who is posting as alternative that wants to come to take state power, and if they are not doing enough, listen to what Samson Bowne is saying. The opposition is not here to do. Yeah, is the deal here. Uganda, Bobby Wine and his opposition people, when the stimulus package went there, they said no. They end up even giving. They didn't take. But what happens? The government, the opposition, all of them, they have justified their reason, and they have robbed the Liberian people in the middle of this here. And by cleverly inserting something into this budget here. But fair to say, I also got the really insight, and I might play this clip here from the representative from Mount Gibby County. Nobody has ever explained that, as far as I'm concerned, for me to understand exactly how this process, how this thing came about. And she was very emphatically clear that no lawmaker should tell you that they didn't know anything about this. They were all aware, except because they were not smart. The government, the executive branch of government, cleverly, strategically, politically, dumped this thing on them to take the tension off their back. Yeah. And that was one of the remorse that she expressed. According to Representative Helen Etat Ray, that is a monthly $400 and something change that has been allotted, is being put in this budget. But this money overdue so much, and the executive branch of government knew very well the tension being on them recently of some of these bad behavior policy stimulus package that was never delivered. Nobody know how it went. They came together, Samuel Toure and whatever people, and say, okay, this is overdue. Let's give this bulk of the money to these people. And they give it to them without them even say, oh, wait a minute, is this looking right? And the government, the opposition. So then where is the boundary, Mr. Goy? Where is the boundary? Where is the boundary? But again, it makes it very difficult for us to argue because it was embedded within their handbook that they should get it, except the manner in which it came. Let's see here. Let's have a little conversation here, and then we'll come back.
It's something that we need to do and see how they can allocate for the funding to rehabilitate that road. But now, because it is not done, and it becomes political, they think you are not doing anything. We are left with no option.
Let me push it forward here a little bit. I really want that part where she was saying.
Students in the Giddings Polytechnic, I have students in KCC, I have students in.
Let me see here. I really want
the people. So that's the legislative engagement. So as I said earlier, for me, I will use myself as a case study. I have the Kakata bill, I have the plantation bill. You cannot take the people from the Kakata and carry them to the plantation. So it will be so costly. Sometimes I try to balance it and break them into segments. You have maybe like 23 divisions. I need to have meeting, maybe break them down to it 5 at a time to ensure that my message get across. Those are part of the legislative engagement. The media will have to be present to take maybe.
I really want to get to this point here. I need to.
Therefore, you become frustrated because even in the house, some of us, we are internally displaced. What do I mean? Mm-hmm. If it comes to working and other things, my colleague who understands that this is her background, we need to work together, they will call me. But when it comes to voting, right, I'm not on a meeting on waste, means and finance that has to do with accounting or math or finance or whatever, even though that's where I have more knowledge. I'm not on a committee on banking and currency, even though somebody will say, well, former banker, blah, blah, blah. Most of my colleagues were my customers, they were my clients because I used to deal with high net worth individuals. I used to manage them before we became colleagues. So it was amazing to know that I am not there. So I'm just saying this to tell you that even the people that will work along with you during the campaign period, even though some of them are in junior high or senior. Yes, sir.
No.
I'm still here.
Go ahead. On a very serious note, so once in a blue moon, LPR will come out with these dynamic speaker. that when they're talking, even just about that like to interrupt and
Okay.
yell and think you're very
That was
quiet.
the Labour that
And
making
I
the
think this is one.
contribution. But if you were to go back to this here, you really going to get an insight of this whole thing here. That's the point of it here. And so when people are saying they are standing up for us, we want them to come clean. We don't want to have this situation come back and start talking the same thing over and over and over. There's no way that I can be another person. I just have to be myself. Sometimes, I will not understand. But look, I'm not a guy who say I want my. I can disagree with the policy of the government, but I can't come out to say I want a government to fail because if I did that, I'm also putting pressure on myself because the family members, people there, we are here before the week comes to an end. The demand, the request is more than what you even earn, and that's sort of it's stressful as well. But if people are coming up, we want these people to position themselves a little bit different so that we know that it's a serious business. But it has become a culture, and we're not saying the kind of light. We're not saying I hope as well. So I want them to see it. I want them to see them coming together to form that sort of real coalition that they will be very pressful and forceful to the government to hold the government accountable. But I'm not saying that. The collaboration has been in place for the long time. By this time, they need to resolve here. See what is unfolding in Liberty Party. How can I say that they're going to represent my interests? My fear here is going to be a chaotic situation. Then what happens? We end up being where we are again, and we're going to come right back here to explain these things here. George, before that, I want us to talk about this here, this missing person, Mr. Sayon with LRA. We did try to reach out to Mr. Moses Carter. We were told police is carrying out the investigation. Our own correspondent from Liberia is also been talking to a few family members. And there was so for now, the family members are not thinking that he is dead, according to what they are gathering here. But at the same time, they are not ruling it out. So it's just the family is being very stressful here. But why this sort of thing? Why this whole? What is the secret? What is this whole dilemma behind this LRA? This is not the first. This is not the second. We saw three people later on. Another auditor, the late Nyanswa, and all of that. What is the secret? Why this whole thing here? Why it have become a tradition? People being allegedly been missing, even though we don't know yet, we can't come to the conclusion that he's been killed. And even if he's killed, to say, oh, this is a person responsible. But the idea for the all-grown men for country, city like Morovia, perhaps, whether he went out at the time, we don't know. We don't know all of that is there. But I call into what our guy is saying. People are LRA auditors and another group of people called compliance officers are all feeling nervous of what is going on right now. Why should we find ourselves in this sort of situation always?
Look, let me say this first. My heart go out to the family. When the first day broke, I've been following the story. And the fear at the wife of this guy, I don't know, she experienced some story, but yeah, it's the thing still so. And I know people would not like to hear from me. Those days we say, well, the Congo people. During the regime of the Congo people, so many native people were going missing. People were missing. Boyo, they were this. Now, you have an additional president. Look at the number of mysterious deaths on a death president. 3 years. High-profile people going missing. Finding their body mysterious in the street of Monrovia. Now, this guy might be the fourth person from that particular area. What is wrong with the government? What the government can explain to us? And I was reading some story. They say, allegedly, say another co-worker called him that you were going to meet and gave the Laman all the story. They were going to do some work for their boss man, their boss. So this thing here become it is troubling For someone helped and I said, just leave, walk from the house, and just go missing. This is something we should be thinking and asking ourselves the hard question. You got Yakbawolo, Tobakwolo, Bule, Yinato, all in power now. What is happening? These were the things that we accused the Congo people of. They were boyo. They were there. You too late. We heard it when we were growing up. You too late. What is happening on our watch? Indigenous. What is happening on our watch? We need to have this conversation. What is happening on the indigenous people watch? So are you telling me it was the indigenous people who were doing that thing to make the Congo people look okay? Because now we're seeing indigenous leadership. People all around Liberia. This is not only limited to Mosorado. Mr. Kelly in Bone County, Mr. Kelly in Hapo, Grand Crew, Lofa. Everywhere. What is going on with indigenous leaders? Mr. Store, can you help me?
He said they shouldn't say anything. No, it's not their job. So
that's not what I said. That's not what I said. I said their engagement with the government must be constructive. That's simple as that. Now, all of the things that you just talked about, Mr. George, they're quite correct. People are missing, and what the Liberian people are claiming for information. However, it is the government duty. The government is supposed to protect us, supposed to protect the citizen and property of the entire country. If a citizen gone missing, there are procedures. There are those who are supposed to do an investigation. The police, for one, and whatever security apparatus that's supposed to be doing that, they will do so. My point, and I continue to make this, if for some reason, if I were to be in Liberia, or if I go to Liberia and get missing, and then all of a sudden, before the government will even respond, and the government most likely will not even respond because they haven't responded to many of these other incidents anyway. But that does not mean that the opposition should now take the responsibility of trying to respond or ask questions. They have to be very careful how they engage, because they might be looked at, in my opinion, the opposition might be looked at as being inciting the citizen against the sitting government.
So
hold on. I'm saying that's my view. It's my view. Please, I don't expect two of you to agree with me. If you agree with me, I'll shut my mic down and go home. That I know for sure. Now, if the opposition get involved in this type of situation, they have to be mindful, number one, and be cognizant of the fact that the government of the Republic of Liberia was duly elected, and the executive is responsible for the day-to-day affair of the country. That includes security. So if these people are disappearing and what have you, the best the opposition can do, the most that the opposition can do, they have their own lawmakers. They can consult their lawmakers and say and suggest to the lawmaker, why don't you have a hearing? Why don't you bring these people to book? But for the opposition, because they are in opposition, therefore they should take on the responsibility of a lawmaker. The lawmaker is there to do the check, to check the executive, check and balance. They're not the opposition. Then the Constitution does not say check and balance with the opposition. The opposition are there to say what is happening. Now, if the time comes for an election and the floor is open for campaign, then we're going to have to distinguish ourselves from the government to say, do you remember this? The government did this. We will not do it. We're going to do X, Y, and Z. This is when you are allowed to express yourself. Now, and what you two are suggesting that I frown on, I frown on that heavily, and that is to suggest that this government should come in and be like a sidebar government. Whenever this government make a mistake, the opposition should capitalize on it and inform the public. And the opposition is not the spokesperson for the people of the Republic of Liberia. The people of the Republic of Liberia have made that decision. They elected the government of the Republic of Liberia to be their spokesperson. So you can't have two. So if we want anything, if we want to hold this government their feet to the fire, the best way we can do it is go through the proper channel. Now, let me use that word again, Mr. George, so you can hold me to that. Because when our time comes, we want these same inept government that is running this government. We want these same people to follow the same channel, proper channel, to come and approach us. That's what we want. And that's my point.
Okay, let me bring in Mr. Jackson. Thank you so much for joining us. These are words of Samson told. Be mindful, consult lawmaker. Our time comes. We don't want to be a by-side government. I don't see where in the world the opposition want to go. The lawmaker, they have a task dedicated to them. And you being to opposition is to bring to spotlight of the ills of the government. You more or less of a pressure group. So I don't understand why the opposition want to go. Hold on.
No, Mr. Sol, you can't get away with that. The opposition are not supposed to be in the spotlight. They are not supposed to bring issue in the spotlight. The opposition, but listen, this is the Republic of Liberia, not a banana republic. This is not Grand Judea Association. This is the Republic of Liberia. They have constitution that guide these people. You can't, because you're opposition, to say you're going to put a spotlight on every inept behavior. They do that every day. My point is that, Mr. So, and I want you to when you're making these reference, make the reference exactly what I'm saying. That the government, the opposition, they have senators, they have representatives in the House of Representatives. And these are the people that are responsible to check the government, not the opposition.
Oh, what? Mr. Jackson.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you've been working with Vice experience. Maybe this guy is speaking total and I'm not getting it rightfully right here tonight. But I know following politics and other places in the world, maybe the world, and probably the way they do things and sometimes it's different. But I'm just saying, when these things happen, he just said not everything. When you have, we saw the case of the auditor, and I believe it's your profession as well. The opposition, we're not calling on them to say go to people to go join the street, but you remind the government, hey, we want you to conduct a comprehensive and to make sure blah blah. They know how to curve their standing. But speak to this here with us. You've been an auditor here. You've been an auditor here too. Hearing what we are seeing unfolding, we for sure do not have all of the information on hand yet to say this is the duo or this is what has happened here. But it is concerning that this man, looking at the past history with all of the other auditors here, what exactly it is, what is going through your mind when you see this thing happening and you were in Liberia, working currently within that facility or in that entity? What would be going through your mind?
But for me, that will create a fear to me, really, because if 2 to 3 auditors getting missing or they die, and there's no cause, just somebody jumped from his, he poached, and according to them, he died. Up to the day, nobody tell you how it's happening. You will be afraid. But let me just go back to what Mr. To is saying. Mr. To, we know that the people in the house, they are there for check and balance. But where there's an instant where they are being compromised, where you see the speaker is from the same party, the pro tem from the same party, and you understand, the judge or whosoever from who speak on behalf, of the citizenry, where will be the check and balance? I think the only option they have now is with the political leaders or with the opposition party who are able to score them, and hold them to the fire to say, look, so and so person are getting missing. We haven't been able to, and to get the answer. We want answer to this.
That's what we're saying. That's what we're saying,
We can't say we wait until the people in the house. How many times have the people in the house been able to solve these things? None have been able to come out. But let me tell you the fact, the position of the auditors, and that is going on now in Liberia, is something now that the people in the house need to come and address it. Because what happened is a lot of things have gone missing, that audit reports are coming out, and you don't want, for you to look ugly. So maybe that auditor might have information. I don't know. I'm not saying it. This is not NPR saying it. I'm saying it. You understand? So let me just pull out this disclaimer. Something might go on wrong. Maybe you're trying to threaten somebody, and they say, "Well, I don't need to be there." Or somebody will say, "Okay, let me pay, a pay agent." I don't know.
Mr. Jackson, hold on there. Let me give you a piece of information. This guy, I think, was a compliance officer. They say he closed somebody else's business, and they went, I think, they opened the business back.
Fine. Okay. So you see what we're coming for? We are talking about they don't want, that compliance officer was created recently by Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, I think between 2016 and 17. They created that because all the reports that were coming up, people were not enforcing them. So it's okay, let's have another more arm, of the auditing department that will be a compliance officer. So they go there and they make sure, they look through the books and say, okay, no happy. If you know that you have been done this and you have done this, we found out according to the book, we're going to do this. Now, these are things that how can auditors, I believe, that are getting inquiry.
Yeah, let's have the conversation here because you have that background with the former National Port Authority, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so how the audit, I don't know how it works now, but during your days here, let's do a little bit quick review here. Yes. Do auditor have access to money or the managing directors? How it used to operate then? Maybe we'll have to find people in the system if and only if they're willing to come forward. Or what are you hearing? How is the system now being conducted than your days for which this sort of things going on like this?
We have two types of auditors. We got external auditors and we have internal auditors. Those internal auditors that they are auditor within the port themselves, that the port apply. They under the supervision of the managing director. They are the one who go and audit the books of the various departments. Let's take an example, the finance department. They go to catch, audit cash. They go to audit payroll. They go to audit, assets. That is all the assets for this, for the port. They are there to audit, an operation. Like for instance, yesterday you guys were talking about mooring charges. That is when the ship come in, that rope that they told to haul, they have increased, the fee. They are there to audit, to see how many ships came in and how many mooring charges they received. These are the work. Now they make the report directly to the managing director. They don't receive money.
That's the internal audit. That's the internal auditors.
The internal auditor. Those internal auditors, their report are being used by the external auditor because when they come on the ground, I don't know anything. I don't know about NPR. So when I come in, I had a list with Alfonso too. To tell me, say, well, how is this thing wrong? Then they will tell you, it's okay. You're going to be my guy because I'm going to do this.
So in the meanwhile, not to interrupt you, Mr. Jackson, in the meanwhile, they take the books from the internal auditor to go through and maybe go into a conversation.
Fine.
When
that for instance, they get there today, they say, okay, NPR, and LPR, according to us, you say you have so and so cash. Let us look at the report of the internal auditor. What do they say? Now, if there's a difference, then they will say, how come this difference come about? I understand. They will do their work, but they will be, in touch with the internal auditor. So that's how they go. The compliance people, when they come in, they do the work. They leave that information with the internal auditor to go to comply with it. Now, if they don't do it, it's their duty now to call the managing director, and the managing director can come and tell you, say, well, so and so things will be done.
Okay,
now, go ahead.
So quickly here, I will go to the men from all of the county here, but after everything, the external auditors, where do their report go?
The what? The external auditor?
Yeah, where do they forward their reports?
Well, the external auditor, they are coming from, from the government of the Republic of Liberia.
Okay.
They had the right, from the government to come and audit the National Port Authority. So let's take, for example, their report go one their report go to the president, and at the same time they share it with the board, you know, because when they come in, before they leave, they have what we call exit audit. They will acquaint you with all what remaining. If you look at this, you know, the Crow report, before left Liberia, they have meeting. They have meeting with the president. Don't think they don't know. They have meeting with the president and say these were the things that happened. And you understand? And we want you to go and send people to go and correct them. If you look at Crow,
please hold on. Please hold on 1 second. Let me go to the caller here. We are already running out of time here, sir. This is quite the man from all of the counties.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the thing you all discussing is so interesting. I decided to call to come in because I was deputy chief auditor at the Ministry of Finance in Liberia for 19 years. I started there during the days of Turbo. I worked there within 6 months. They killed Turbo when I left the States and when I left from school and went back to Liberia. And I worked there up to the time to charge state out and I left. So I was there for 19 years as deputy chief auditor. I worked in the revenue department before I became deputy chief auditor. But let me say this. I concur with the gentleman who is telling you guys that auditors do not handle cash or finances. It is that information he's giving is very, very authentic. But let me tell you what. Auditors are occurring or when they go to scrutinize documents, when they audit these businesses, they have access to important information, or tax information. And I think the reason why they are killing the auditors in Liberia, the taxes being generated, they are being diverted to different accounts. That's what is happening in Liberia. When I was in Liberia, we used to experience such a thing, but it wasn't to an alarming rate as it is. They didn't go around killing auditors. No. Auditors discover discrepancies within audit financial reports, let's say from businesses. Now, the one that I was in charge in is the sales tax, is the one you call business trade levy. I was in charge of, let's say, income tax or custom or other places, but I was in charge of what they call sales tax, which is referred to as business trade levy. And business trade levy is on the sales of businesses in Liberia. You won't believe it. When we were there and when they killed Turbo, we discovered a lot of businesses operated in Liberia that didn't pay that tax called business trade levy because they had connections. But
So,
we tried to.
hold on 1 second. They were paying, but it wasn't going to government revenue. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, they were being diverted. And I think that's what's going on right now. That's how come they are killing these guys. Let me give you a scenario. When we were at the Ministry of Finance, the deputy controller, they sent him to the States to do an audit, a maritime audit. When they did this maritime audit, he wasn't having finances. They discovered through documents, through scrutinizing the maritime, when they did the audit, they discovered some discrepancies. And when he found he had an information where they diverted almost, I think, $5 or $6 million.
Wow.
They sent people at his house in the night to kill him. They killed him. They call him Mene Massa. You can check Ministry of Finance. That record is there. And a lot of people who work finance ministry with me at the time, they can attest to this information. They killed him not because he had finances, but he had information.
Because he have basic information. The man from all the county.
Yeah.
I will call you. We need to have time to discuss these things here. People with the expertise, I think it's much better for us to go into a lengthy conversation, some of the dangers that are involved. These are the kind of conversation that we have because this is painful when it comes. Nyeswa, warehouse here is just 2-3 minutes from my house. His son and my son went to the same school, Catholic school. They just graduated, and we were there to go witness the graduation. And I look at the face of the mother. And I see that little boy and their friends, daddy then all around, and father is not. These are painful situations. And in as much as it's painful, we have to discuss it so that we get it out there. This is why we're saying people that come in, they need to, they kind of be a little bit something because this is terrible. But I will call you and we'll want.
Let me close.
Yeah.
Let me just make this for 1 second. So the reason why they are killing these auditors is because they have discovered discrepancies within the audit. Finances that are supposed to be deposited in government revenue, they are being diverted. And they're trying to kill these guys, to kill the evidence. It happened before, but right now, presently, I mean, it is just to an alarming rate. Thank you very much. This is Uncle P.
Uncle P, from the man that represent the 15 political subdivision here. So, Mr. Jackson, you're not elaborating. So, have you had a situation where somebody call you after being carrying on audits? Somebody call you, hey, my man, you inside it, you looking at it in here, you know what I know. This is what you need to do. Have you had a situation before, that sort of scenario before?
Well, I haven't get that scenario on a big stage, but what Uncle Pete is saying is true. Auditors are people who always have full knowledge of and importing information. He gives example of the maritime, and you understand. Before the war, nobody knew what the maritime was. It was after the war people knew, but auditors knew because the Minister of Finance used to send people, to restaurants right here in Virginia, to send people for audit, and you know what I'm saying? And they were able to go through how the maritime fund, generate. Now, if you come, the maritime fund, people they were not playing into it. Nowadays, that's the money that the breadwinner plays now, because that money is a raw money that Liberian government didn't spend a single cent.
Yeah, Liberian flies over 4,000 some more vessels.
Yes. All you need to do is to fly the flare, that's all.
That's it.
That's it. They didn't pay 1 cent. You understand? So you see, if you get access to that information and you find out that the Commissioner of Maritime is having so and so, and he's happy to mismanage it, you will be a target, if you can, and listen to you. Wow. You understand? Yes. It goes like so many things go, something. The Firestone that we see that, I have audited Firestone, and you understand? And you will know that how Firestone gave Liberian government money. If I tell you, I don't want to tell you on the air, but most people don't know. All they will tell you the Firestone is not doing anything. And you understand? But auditor get
in reality, the Firestone is doing it, and I was seeing government people, and I believe that's the same way with bond, because when you talk to some of these people, when they even want to when they want to fix the road, the government will say, "Give her the money, we will do it."
Yes.
At the end of the day, the government do it. They get their 4-wheel jeeps, and they will be going around, and so they don't have anything because their ultimate goal, that they are business people, they want to earn profit. They don't want to go on the losing end, so they flow with the government because whatever they get it out of the country.
Yes. You see? So that's a major reason auditors are getting missing, because they have important information, and those information are damaging. And it might be damaging, to the person, to the auditee, or it might be damaging, to the government library as a whole. So the only thing they can do is they are not threatening you or they eliminate you.
And that's what the U.S. government call classified information, because when it's classified, because when certain 2-3% knows about it now, the possibility of declassifying that information to get out within the public domain is something. We have to find time. I will have to call Private P, the man P, and maybe some of the other people that here for us to have this, because it has become like a routine, or should I say a routine? Now, before we close on here, and I don't want it at all to happen, because it's painful for somebody to lose his or her loved one. You go to work, and then maybe like we're hearing the story, boss man call you, and you go END. That's the end of the story. Now, seeing what we're hearing and knowing what we know, all of the dangers involved here. The Liberal Progressive, are you with us?
I am.
Okay, I'll tell you in total. If for God forbid, and I'm saying God forbid because we need these people. We auditors, they are part of part of the system to check the system. If for any reason, for discussion purposes, and I want to be crystal clear here, if this end up to be what it shouldn't have been in the first foremost place here, how can GOL come out to provide explanation, even it was on a normal situation? That's our take home here tonight, and we're going to have this kind of conversation. If we wake up tomorrow and God forbid, because it's been happening in the past, So nothing is off the table. We have to be honest and get it out there within the public domain. If anything happens tomorrow, and then police or security apparatus or the call a conference, a press conference, we're going to investigate and bring the culprit to justice. And anybody going to buy into that? That's going to be our last talking point here for us to go this evening. Let me start with the liberal. If you want to start it up, yeah, start. Let me start with.
That's fine. That's fine, Mr. So, the demand of answer will be coming from the Capitol building. Simple. The demand for answer from the government must and should be coming from the Capitol building. I'll give you an example. Eugene Falcon, within the last 3-4 days, continued to make noise about this Jake situation. Jake had gotten a fine lawyer, and it seems like the people on the Capitol building over there are now rethinking about bringing back the NSA director, and now the mouthpiece of the sedition, uncertified sedition, their mouthpiece is now calling the NSA director a liar. So these people are making a noise, and the people in the Capitol building were gonna pick it up. It's the same thing I'm saying here. The opposition, they have members of they're member of the opposition who are also member of the lawmakers. They should make no noise. They should come out. When I mean noise, I mean respectful noise. I'm not talking about standing there and cussing each other. No, but demand that these people should be brought here and answer questions. What's going on? Why these people dying? And what are the autopsy report and what have you that you can show us? Call medical doctors, bring people on. It's not bringing people to testify.
Independent, not just medical doctor, but independent medical doctor.
Exactly. Bringing people to testify does not mean the government is guilty, but that you want the people to have the information. This government is not giving the information. So who is the next best thing? It's the legislature. They should demand answer by bringing these people to testify and bringing witnesses who perhaps have a lot of knowledge on these things, not necessarily to put the government, to say the government refused to give us information, but tell us what happened. If these things happen, what are X and Y and Z on these? Those are the places that we need to go. And then once again, I hate to tell you guys again, this is not the job of an opposition. It is the job for the opposition to make sure these things are brought to light, but do it within the confines of the Constitution. Because today, you might think you're in opposition. Tomorrow, you're going to be up there, and you want the Constitution to work for you, not necessarily protect you, but to work for you. You want people to approach you based on the Constitution of whatever it is that you're supposed to do. And that's my last point here, Mr. So I want to thank you tonight for the show, Mr. George, Mr. Jackson. Thank you very much. I think you guys, I would say that Mr. George and Mr. So treated me a little bit fairly tonight than usual, and I respect that and I accept it, even though Mr. So continuing to say that I'm in learning, which I will say to that, learning is not above me. I can be 200 years old as long as God gives me the breath to stay breathing. I am learning, and there's no way I'm going to stop learning. Now, before I close, though, Mr. So, what do you mean? I'm still talking. Don't I have the floor? Before I close, though, Mr. So, Wednesday, you're not going to have this kinds of nice kumbaya stuff from this liberal progressive. Tonight, the reason why I'm letting all of us to do the kumbaya here, because I'm setting a stage. It's a stage that I'm setting for Wednesday between you and Mr. George. You heard the young man here make that point clearly. Mr. So, you surprised me because you seem to be speaking more for CDC than it is you're talking for the people of the Republic of Liberia. Mr. So, we need to check you. Samson Toll said, thank you very much for this wonderful, wonderful show tonight. Mr. George, Mr. Jackson, thank you guys. And I will say good night to all of you.
George, what's your closing argument? Quickly, I'm already out of time.
Yes, let me say this. If there's something called the social contracts, that is the people take all the power, the resources, and give it to the president, the government, to protect them and utilize the resources. So if the government is not using that contract to protect the people. Then the same constitution gave the right to the people. Say that if your happiness and safety is not guaranteed, you have the right to petition or to assemble to ask the government. So there's no one who can sit down and say, if these things are not happening and people should wait because they don't want to question by these people tomorrow, then we are doing injustice to our people. Because the same constitution that gave the president the power to rule the country is the same constitution that tells me that I have the right, if I fear of my safety and happiness, it's not guaranteed, I should ask the president, the government. Today is what we find ourselves in. Some time ago, this man from Johnsonville, body was burned on the beach, on better Bonai bread between there. But the better all reached the beach, the body was burned. We made noise. Nothing came out of it. Today, let me say this. How big is Liberia that everybody might go missing for 1 week? Nobody had gone, nobody had gone missing in Liberia. The agent in recent time to be found alive. This is scary for the people of Liberia, for us. And this government we must hold them accountable for it. Because they are the one who got all the resources. The people are giving them to protect them. And I will not sit down here to sugarcoat it. This government, the opposition, must be forceful. The people in the legislature, yeah, we can call upon them. But the other, they cannot jump into the street. It's the opposition that will take to the street or demand answer from the government on behalf of the people. We cannot sit there and say, well, only camping time we start to criticize them or hold them accountable for camping time. No. Then it means that we are not doing justice to the people, we are not being honest to the majority of the population of the country. If they have the opportunity want to operate, then bye-bye to them. But it is serious.
All right, bye-bye. Okay. Bye-bye to them. Mr. Jackson?
Yes, I just want to give my advice, to the EFFL. I would want to advise them that the intention is great, but the action is wrong. Two wrongs cannot make it right. And whenever they want to do such things, I will advise them that they seek the counsel of a lawyer or somebody who is able to advise them. I think that would be great if they pick it from the point of a legal base, rather than for them to say they will just take physical action, to lack, the capital. And I would want, for them to do that. So I will just close on that note.
Okay, well, gentlemen, what a good and fascinating conversation. Along with our audience, their comments, their tweets, we took all into consideration. You always feel free to express your views, your opinion, even when you disagree with us. I think that's what the conversation is all about. We must all have that sort of intellectual tolerance, political tolerance to accommodate and agree and disagree with one another's views. No one knows it all. We all going to learn new things, but it's quite alarming and really, really scary. But for my brother, for the laborer to come up with this sort of soundbite, then it's a really, really hair scratching. These are lawmakers, to leave it with the lawmakers, these people who can even summon the Minister of Justice, the police chief, and when they summon them, they don't appear, nothing happens. And that's how the people want to do it. Yes, oppositions, the four of you, why a collaboration, the rainbow. We don't say we should get in the street or jump in the street for civil disobedience, no. But when you face the media and you have a refined and seasoned press statement, and not just before Spoon4 or LPR or Joy TV, where you spend real good money and invite the international cable wire and present those sort of position statement, where you visit the economic community of West African state. Yes, they read, they know what is happening, but it's not their business. You have to make that case to them and express your concern to see what is unfolding. These are things that are not happening. And then we need, when we want to talk about it, and you have something told, Here, we must go to lawmaker. Until the lawmaker they can agree. Yeah, this is saying lawmakers that pay themselves heavily. All of them, Nyambli Kanga, Lawrence, the Sir Joseph, all of them, they took that. They didn't use their good judgment. So why should we still be waiting on them? So we need to find the alternative, and that alternative is the opposition. But it must be done in a civilized context with the ultimate goal to achieve something, not just go make noise and act like a little chihuahua, and then after all you walk back and then we'll come to bed without any resolutions. These are conversations that we want to have. Gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for your time and of course for our valuable followers, listeners, viewer. This is the Liberia Public Radio. You can get us via our Facebook, YouTube, and our Twitter handle. Subscribe to be able to get on the light so that when we are on. And again, inbox us, send us message. Whatever you think that we are doing is not right, we can fix it. We are no big. You can text us. The number is there, 682-433-8802. You can email us, Liberia Public Radio 2012 at gmail.com, and we can have this information. If you want to be a contributor here, also let us know. We are willing to accommodate. In fact, we are send out invitation to all of the million political parties, if possible, to send people here so that because we can get their leaders. When you call them, people shield them. They don't want us to know their agenda. Like Samson told said, they are waiting on when they get on airflow, then they will tell us. By then it is late. You can't do anything. They are there for 9 years, 6 years. So what are they going to tell you? They can be held accountable, but we can hold them accountable as they're on the path to presidency or to the first branch of government. Gentlemen, thank you so much and have a pleasant evening. Bye-bye. All right, that's little Josiah there. I want to thank all our viewers and listeners, whatever you are. Thank you so much for your time. Again, keep your comments, your opinion to views, comment. We do not sanction to views, opinion here, as long as it's expressed in a civil context and making suggestions as to how we can enhance and improve this network in Batherland, Republic of Liberia is most welcome. If you want to be a contributor, we're looking for some female contributor. You want to be a contributor analyst here, just put on that garment Remember, people are going to get at you. They're going to say things, disagree with you. They're going to call you names. Yeah, that's okay. But I come here and we can have this conversation. Until then, I'm Afonso Z and Sort of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR TV. Have a pleasant evening. Bye-bye.
Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Oh, let it go. Let it go. Lord, help me, let it go. Your people are suffering, lying in the hospital, suffering for all kinds of sickness, Lord. Lord, help them. That sickness that rebothering you, I say, let it go. The barrenness, pack your load and go. Living the life of joblessness, let it go. I say, you spirit of suppression, let it go. Spirit of denial, spirit of depression, let it go, man. Oh, I'm tired. Pack your load and go. If you're picking, take your chemo, let it go. Your best friend, take your husband, let it go. If your wife said we are not compatible, let it go. Your husband say you're not my type, just let it go. If someone killed for you before, yeah, they kill your mother and they kill your father. They kill your wife and make your children homeless. Oh yeah, they kill your husband and your children fatherless.